Hey, everybody. It's Sunday, February 27th, 2022. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter, and I'm here with this week's Traversing the Transits with Teri Hunter. So, welcome. Give a minute for people to join the room. Hello, welcome. Who's out there? I'm getting my cards. Hi, Katerina. Hi, Juan. Good morning. It's good to see everybody. So, we have quite an interesting world going on right now. Hi, Posted Up. Greetings. So, I wanted to kind of start with a couple of things. First, I'm going to do a little bit of business. For those that come into the channel that watch this in playback or that join us live, my name is Teri Hunter, and I'm an intuitive astrologer. I think of myself as sort of this hybrid of all the things I've learned and then letting my intuition dominate how I interpret the transits, the astrological transits. I go by whole sign Western astrology, and that's that for that. Also, I wanted to let you know that I have started, me and my apprentice, I have an apprentice now, we have started a new weekly word vibration of the week because I wanted to bring back this idea that I've used for years and years about how our words ripple through a vibration like musical notes. So every Wednesday, I'll be publishing a new word. I'll talk about how that word lands on me and invite you to let me know how it lands on you. So as you walk through your weeks, you're consciously creating not just by your intention, but by your inflection, your awareness of your words and the vibration that it is carrying with it. You know, I think I can't quote the Bible because I don't have one, but it's something, when God created the world, it was with the spoken word. And you guys know I'm a crazy fan of Ancient Aliens on the History Channel. And, there's so much to do with sound vibration, being able to really move mountains, literally. So if that's all even remotely true, then in our own little mountains and own little worlds, the words that we use are vibrating. So I hope you'll look for that. I hope you'll participate. I'm also hoping to launch this week, but it might be next week, a series of 5-minute meditations. And these meditations are more about an alignment to setting an intention to the universe, taking that moment to kick in the laws of attraction. I don't want them to be terribly long, and you don't necessarily have to be sitting in an Om position for these meditations, as much as your awareness and your intention to be present, which is another reason why I thought it would be fun to make them short, small. So we've got one of those starting. And okay, I think that's it for all my business that I have to talk about right now. And we'll have more and more fun things to tell you as we move forward. I'm very inspired lately. So sometimes when one door closes, another door opens, and it brings in a bunch of fresh air in the same room that you were already sitting in. And it feels all new and fresh. So we have this week a Pisces new moon at the 12th degree, no less, the Piscean degree. And it is in the same house having a conversation with Jupiter and Neptune. Neptune's been hovering around 22 degrees for a while, and Jupiter will be conjunct at 14 degrees. I think this is wildly powerful and in some ways a little bit polarizing because while both Neptune and Jupiter represent high vibrational elements, there's also a sense of sometimes escapism with Neptune, sort of wanting to not deal with the hard things, the rough things. And we know a little bit that we're going through rough things right now. So I want to offer it this way. And Jupiter can expand things. So what I'm thinking is that there's the potential that there are people that are not really living as conscious a life as they may. They may be able to, and they may go into an escaping place. Even ourselves, we may want to eat a little bit more, drink a little bit more, watch more TV, escape into fantasy, into a world that feels kinder and more gentler. I don't need to tell anybody what's going on in the headlines right now. So we've got that. So I want to offer it in the way that I think this week with this new moon, we can sort of, I made a note that I wanted to go inward and believe that the universe is co-creating with me and bringing about material abundance for me so that I can represent the balance of these hard times. One of the things that I love about studying history lately, and especially watching Finding Your Roots with Henry Louis Gates Jr., is that there are times way, way back before the Civil War days when people were enslaved, and then people of the same race and the same color were living free lives and thriving. Were they easy? No, not necessarily, but there was this balance. There was this sense of creation. Like, why did these people get to be free and why did these people not? There's something to do with the laws of attraction, something to do with the soul's intention, soul's evolution. So here we find ourselves, at least within the United States, coming to this Pluto return, which is also in play this week because Pluto's at 27 degrees, Venus will be at 26 degrees, and Mars will be at 27 degrees. So I think these are very powerful dynamics, little stellium up here in Capricorn. And then this dynamic of Jupiter and Venus being with this new moon that gives us an opportunity to align ourselves to a deeper sense of our soul's intention. And in some ways, a soul's memory of past lives. And am I going to do what I've always done? Am I going to defer to fear in some ways? Am I going to defer to what's called practical? Or am I going to stretch myself a little bit and use Neptune to a higher vibration where I'm allowing myself to imagine a better world and then calling upon the universe to co-create that? And if the world at large cannot adopt that vibration, may my life represent its opportunity. I think this is super important. And there's another thing that I wanted to say about this was that Venus, Pluto, and Mars will be squaring the nodes, South Node and North Node. And we know that's always going to happen because the nodes are always at the same degree in opposition. So what do the nodes represent? Past lives and the soul's intention in this life. And what does Pisces represent? Ancestors, past lives. Where is the South Node? In Scorpio, death and rebirth. There's so much going on metaphorically that's offering us an opportunity to stand at that fork in the road and say, am I going to go back to the dark side and believe that if I don't do this, I won't get that? Or if I don't do this, this privilege will be taken away? Or am I going to stand in the idea that if I hold my vibration in surrender of what I've experienced, but rather in faith of what I am co-creating, maybe there are miracles to be happened. So that's what I want to say, because I think this nodal structure is super important in the sense of this idea of Scorpio representing other people's money, Taurus representing the skills I use making my own money, Capricorn representing government, authority, structure, and Venus, my skills, my beauty, my music, Mars, my deeper truth. And Mars is exalted in Capricorn. So this is where Mars does not take heated action, but strategic action. I'm going to tell you a quick story and then I'm going to go on to the readings. First off, this, I've been struggling with Lucky in this one thing after another, whack-a-mole thing with his health. And the more this went on, because it started in October, really kicked in November, and it's February, end of February, almost March. And I had this epiphany this last week that, I literally dreamt of this episode of Caesar Milan where, instead of actually engaging the dog as the the dominant one, the dog was responding to a softer, gentler, kinder energy. And I was having trouble with Lucky doing what I wanted him to do, finishing his breakfast, blah, blah, blah. And we were starting to come and get like this with each other. And in this idea, in this Jupiterian Neptune idea, because, Jupiter's been in Neptune for a while, I'm like, how can I approach this? I must be having resistance to something, which is making me trying to over control the situation. Then I'm telling myself that I'm doing this for the good of both of us. But if I was in his shoes, I wouldn't like the way I was showing up. I thought that was a really brave thought for me to have. And I started showing up different. And literally this morning, he started to pattern out. And normally I'd be like, you don't get this until you do that and blah, blah, blah. I didn't do that. I was very kind. I used soft words and I just let it be. And then I called upon St. Francis, the patron saint of animals. I called upon my guides to surrender my over controlling a situation and inviting a gentler vibration to shift the energy. Closed my eyes, went into meditation, did a little bit of chanting. And sure enough, within 5 minutes, he went over to the bowl and he finished the food, or the plate, and finished his food. I'm being very much taught about my Martian energy right now and how to use it in a much more effective way. And I want to offer this all to you as well, because I think this is another dynamic of Jupiter and Neptune. Being able to speak my truth, stand in my harmonious wealth vibration, the expansion that Jupiter offers me, and into a dream-like lifetime. A lifetime that people say, this is amazing, I love this. And there is more and more people that will experience this regardless of what's happening in the outside world. Part of it is our job to stay focused on what we are planting in the new moon, every new moon, but this moon. So, okay, let's go on to our reading. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to add one tarot card to each sign. And we start with Pisces and work our way towards Aries. It's going to represent a theme. We know Pisces, this is going to be in your first house. So this is going to be about self. Good morning, Shelly. I didn't say good morning to anybody. Good morning, Small Wildflowers. Good morning, Juan. Good morning, Posted Up. Good morning, Janine. Good morning, Michelle and Michelle. 1L, 2Ls. Good morning, Jenny B. I think, I don't know if I missed anybody. If I'm saying good morning to you. All right, here we go. Oh, well, look at that. I'm just going to let this card fly out because it's the 10 of Cups. So I want to offer this for my Pisces. This is a time to celebrate. This is a time to celebrate and to really start to focus on your cup feeling full. I love the vibration of the 10 of Cups. It's a happy card. It's celebratory. I remember when I was studying the tarot, my teacher said, there could be a lot of sex going on. Hey, with Pluto and Mars and Venus, a lot of you could be enjoying relations with people. And some of you may even get pregnant, And if you're aware of any resistance you may have or fear you may have about getting pregnant, as you let that subside and enjoy the activity and stay in the present moment, you're more than likely have some strong, good results. But Pisces, it's also a 10. Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to bring up. The new moon is on 3-2-2-2-2022. That's an 11. Which I thought was very interesting. So focused thought, where is my thought going to be? And I want to offer this way. It isn't thought that mirrors your physical experience. It isn't thought that you can see concrete and brick and mortar. It's the thought that Neptune, the imagination, how it can be. And then little bits and pieces of evidence. And then thanking the universe as your willingness to co-create. And the co-creation isn't constant action. So this is kind of nice for Pisces because Pisces kind of knows how to hang out in the room of meditation. So I want you to enjoy that. And I also want to offer this too. Because as a Pisces, we talk about the mutable signs, but you're on that axis with Virgo, right? So I think this is an opportunity for the Piscean moon to give you an opportunity to become more in cooperation, not just with your seventh house of Virgo, but with the practicality of your spirituality being how you experience your life in a way that becomes concrete in the material world so that you can be of service, Virgo, seventh house, to others. But I want you to focus in on the opportunity for a lot of happiness. Think about it. Sun, Moon, Jupiter, Neptune, all in Pisces right now. That's a stellium. Okay, put that back in the deck and let's go to our normal spread for Pisces. First house. So who do you want to be when you grow up, Pisces? Who do you want to be when you're that big fish in that pond? That's possible. Well, if you're doing genealogy and ancestry, I love ancestry. I'm so fascinated by history now. I don't know what happened. I don't know, I've always liked it, but as an old woman, I have older habits that I'm surprised by. And one is watching PBS. Okay, here we go. Pisces rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. What does Spirit want you to be supported by in your first house of self moving forward in your solar return? Our first angel is Shanti, the angel of peace. The second is Caressa, ushering in a new chapter with more peace and happiness. Bethany in the angel's advice is about self-care. Yes, very much, Pisces. And finally, Rochelle, as you follow the guidance of your heart. Rochelle's my favorite. I try not to have favorites, but I do. And I don't mind being an old woman. I actually kind of like it. And I don't think it's an insult. I think it's kind of like, an honor. I've come to the point now where I look at myself and I go, you're looking pretty good for your age. And you're learning more and more how to be happy. I don't think I could have ever done that in my youth. In fact, I know I couldn't. So Pisces, Shanti's offering you peace. Don't worry, small. Enjoy the granddaughters. Shanti is being joined by the risk card. Are you willing to swim towards your peace? Caressa is offering you a new chapter, but there's a burden attached to it. This is where the mutable part of you gets a little bit caught up, because this is about self-care for Pisces. Because the angels are saying to Pisces, this is a very spiritual card, the Grail Knight. I think of it as Sir Lancelot. It's about illusion, which is Neptunian. It's about seeking the sacred, which is Neptunian. And it's about romance. So there is very much an opportunity for you to realize, Pisces, that part of your feeling peaceful in relationship, okay, and I'm going to say that because of the Grail Knight, both relationship with others, relationship with yourself, and relationship with an intimate person is as healthy as you are willing to take care of yourself. And that sometimes isn't easy for you. So it's a burden for you to start this new chapter of self-love. And the funny thing is that the human has been trained to think if they put themselves first, they are selfish and they are, narcissistic or whatever the case may be. But with the Piscean energy, when you put yourself first, you're actually serving your partner in a greater way, because they don't have to feel responsible for what happens behind, in that 12th house, because now you're willing to see the beauty of your own carving your own little country road within this relationship. Okay, because in the final position is Rochelle, asking you to honor and follow the guidance of your heart. And then we have the Deer. And I really think this is about being gentle and diplomatic with yourself. So let's offer it this way, Pisces. Rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. And I like the moon and the rising. I think they are very much on par with each other in influence. The rising sign's your perception, right? I'm working with a Piscean woman, and she's super cooperative, always willing to put my agenda first. And I'm an Aries woman. So I want to be super mindful not to have it be all about me. And she gets to be super mindful about it not being all about me. I have to laugh a little when I say that, but because I think it's about Pisces risking that their peace of mind actually serves the happiness of everyone. And even though you haven't practiced this is a wonderful opportunity to set an intention for your happiness to be as important as others. Because here it is, the self-care. The illusion is that if you don't care about yourself, or if you put the other person first, that they're going to come back in some way and give you what you need. I don't think that's true. I think they might try. Everybody wants to try, but it's not easy. So here, honor and follow the guidance of your heart. And not only is prosperity coming to you, but peace of mind, feeling an ability to receive your happiness, which is the focus of the first meditation I'll be publishing within the next week or week and a half or so. And it's just a quick 5-minute. But anyway, because it's about being gentle with yourself as you do that, because we saw the 10 of Cups offering you great happiness. Okay, on to our Aquarius, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. And I also want to say this too, because there's something about the idea of the nodes squaring that Pluto, Venus, Mars dynamic that feels like it's this new moon, and that square at the same time gives a real opportunity for this to feel like a noble mission, not a selfish mission. It's almost as if Spirit has been asking those that live in a Jupiterian, Neptunian energy, religion and spirituality has never been about worshiping a god. It's been about love. And somehow we've missed the boat. We're going to recalibrate that boat right now. We're going to give it an overhaul. Hey, just call me C. Welcome, welcome. All right, Aquarius, let's see what your tarot card for this week is. What is the focus for you for this week? Okay, so this is going to be in your second house. Pisces is your second house. This is an opportunity for you to really look. What does second house represent? It represents history. It represents my personal possessions. It represents my skills, my ability to make money, my voice. Voice is not just a singing voice. It's the expression of myself. It's feeling heard maybe in some ways. Okay, what is the tarot card for our Aquarius? The Four of Wands. This is another happy card. This is a card of celebration. This is a card of, in some ways, community. You can see the people in the background. I really want to offer this too, because the natural second house is Taurus, and that's having an influence this week. So I want you to focus in, Aquarius, on the things that make you feel celebratory. And I feel like we're going to see a little bit more detail about what Spirit wants you to know. Where are we celebrating within the second house? Because again, I want to go back to the beginning of the video when I said that I really believe that those of us that are living as aware and alive as we can, because being aware is sort of like our moon. It comes and it goes. Patterns are revealed to us no matter how much we quote unquote work. I would encourage you to stop working and just try to turn your focus towards the things that you're proud of, the things that you've accomplished, the things that feel like, the human naturally wants to just jump onto the next thing. It's basking in those things that really invites in a new experience and a noble mission that represents what can happen when we stand in awareness and in the bravery of our own co-creation, because co-creation can sometimes be a problem. Okay. Hey, Josh, Brandon, is it your birthday coming up? What am I seeing here? Aquarius rising, 29 degree. That's a great, with Pisces North Node. Oh, that must be very exciting right now. Lots going on for Brandon. Hey, J4S777. La Vida, welcome, welcome. Did I say hi to Katerina? I think I did. Penelope, welcome. All right, hope I got everybody. I missed you. I'm sorry. Okay, Aquarius. What are we celebrating in our second house? The first angel is Celeste, maybe a new job or a move. Then we have Xana, the angel of protection. We have Crystal saying, have faith and hope. There's more on the horizon. And Shanti, the angel of peace. It's funny, Celeste, oftentimes it feels like a physical shift in my mind, but I mean, a shift in my mental process, but this actually feels like potential opportunity for something in the physical world that's very exciting. And because it's that second house, it almost makes me feel like it's something that might have been teed up for a while, and the universe had to kind of put all the pieces in play. Let's see. Celeste is being joined by the partnership card. That's exciting. We have Xana being joined by the cow, abundance. We have Crystal being joined by the Lady of the Lake. And then we have Shanti being joined by the mystery card. Okay, this is pretty exciting. Okay, for Aquarius, I really think as I tune in that there is a potential here for you to get into a new partnership with either moving to a new location or a new job. And I want to offer it this way because here we are in a new moon. And I feel like this is a declaration on some level, but it's also something that's been banging around in the back of your head. I keep feeling that history word from the second house popping out at me as if, one of those someday and now you're being protected as you call upon the universe, as you step into abundance, asking and receiving, and then start to see spirit putting these opportunities in play. Now, let me offer this too, because if indeed you get an opportunity to move to a new home or a new place of employment, I think it's important for you to have a discerning eye and be brave about how you walk into that situation. If it's somewhere that you want to live and it feels like it might be too expensive, then the bravery comes from believing you can make the resources you need to pay the rent or pay the mortgage. If it is a job, then I think it's really about being brave about what you want and need in exchange for your time and energy. These dynamics of old are going away. Again, here we talk about the 10th house of Capricorn, Pluto, death and rebirth, Venus, money, self-worth, Mars, action, making an effect to the nodes. So I feel like there's a brave moment if you're going into a partnership for Aquarius to step out and negotiate that a bit with what you want, because in the angel's advice is the Lady of the Lake standing in the absolute truth and courage of that, and then faith in the unknown. And I really believe, that in some respects, Aquarius should be very good at this. You're ruled by Uranus, and you're very, in some ways, scientific. So yeah, you're going to want to see it scientifically proven, but you're willing to go out into space somewhere. So now as you connect with your deeper truth, you will be protected how people receive you, how people receive your communication as your awareness, because now is the time to choose your own peace. And mystery card is about choice. So I want to offer it this way, because oftentimes the human, when they start to see evidence of what they want, there's a weird trigger of loss at the same time. Like if I don't suddenly acquiesce to something or the way somebody's presenting it, that I won't get it. And then if you look at some people who I didn't really want that job, so I said, no, 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 no. And they just kept coming towards me and offering me more and more of what I wanted. So I really want to offer that, because I think there's an opportunity for you to really at least plant those seeds of something super important for 2022. And again, I'm going to go back to the idea that the Pisces new moon is on the date reduces down to an 11. That's the power number of thought, the master number of thought, the number that says the angels are working for you and asks you to align your thoughts to your outcome. We have 11 likes in the room right now. So I want to offer it this way, because you don't really need to see the evidence right now. You just have to be willing to say, this is what I'm putting out into the universe. And thank you for giving me the bravery to receive it. Okay, let's go into our Capricorns. So funny. I just got this image of Juan cleaning or doing something behind the scenes as he's listening to us talking. Juan, are you tinkering around your house? Are you cleaning your dishes in your kitchen? I'd be so curious, because if you were, I'd be freaking out right now. I'd be like, oh my God. Oh, that sounds like it might be a little bit with Uranus traversing all that. Oh, you did? You had a little mishap? Were you cleaning up the mishap? Okay, here we go. Capricorn. Oh, silly me. We're starting with the tarot. Okay. Small waffles, you just finished doing your dishes? Maybe that's who it is. You know, I call them the Musketeers. They haven't told me who's D'Artagnan. Oh, how funny. Maybe that's why I'm getting this this group of, okay, here we go. People doing the dishes. All right. For our Capricorns, interestingly enough, we have the Knight of Pentacles. Now, the Knight of Pentacles is a earth sign. It is about steady movement. It is about money, but it's also about, in some ways, there's a little bit of a cautionary tale with this character because he can get stuck in no movement. There's not a lot of feeling of going forward. So Capricorn, you know, you've had Venus, the planet that rules money, in your house going backwards. And if you have any other Venusian energies, you may feel as if money has been, or your skills are not being appreciated with what you, how do I want to phrase it? That either your skills or your money are not reflecting your abilities or your capabilities. And it may be time during this new moon to look a little bit deeper. This is in your third house, this new moon. So to me, the new moon really does, the third house, that Gemini house represents my neighborhoods, my everyday activities, going to work and back and forth. So I would offer that this night is asking you, are you making money? Are you staying somewhere or staying in a situation that may be slightly stagnant? It may not even be about moving jobs or changing the situation as much as infusing new energy into the situation. Because again, it doesn't feel like lack. It almost feels like too much. I want to use the word complacency. Okay, here we go. Oh, Capricorn. I'm off, like, by throwing something new in the mix for some reason, my brain is not, I'm like distracted a little bit. Mardi Gras today? Oh, sounds like fun. Okay. Here we go. Capricorn. What does Spirit want you to know about this new moon in your third house? Bridget is in the foundational position. Teresa is in the opportunity or obstacle. Patience is in the angel's advice. And Chantal is in the final position. Romance. Now, we know that, you know, having Pluto, Venus, and Mars all together this week, it could spell a lot of okay. Bridget is saying to Capricorn, are you inspired? The Fire Fairy is joining. Teresa is being joined by the Fear card. Patience is being joined by the High Priestess. And Chantal is being joined by the Wasp. Okay, so this makes kind of a lot of sense to me because it feels a little bit like this night is really reflecting an opportunity for you to sit and take some time and see if you feel as if things are truly where you want to be. Are you still heading the direction you want to go, or has a certain amount of material comfort made you sort of let things float around? I'll put it that way, because when I look at this, Bridget is asking you to look deeper. Are you really inspired, Capricorn? Are you inspired with what's happening with you, or somehow are you being triggered? And you know, the news and everything that's going on in the world could be triggering a certain sense of fear. I wouldn't be surprised, because in the opportunity or the obstacle, we do have the Fear card, and then we have Teresa, the card of worry. And I kind of want to offer this again to you, because the good news about Capricorn is if indeed Capricorn can sit in more of a baby goat energy and being kind of excited about the idea that I'm going to represent the contrast of new structure. I'm going to represent thriving during challenging times. I understand there's a part of me that gets into this feeling of needing to be stoic and dutiful within my behavior. But at the same time, Spirit is calling upon Capricorn to really start to observe their higher self, the oversoul that has been calling to you for years now. I've been talking about this transformation from this really kind of dark, malefic energy into something much lighter. Because for me, Saturn is always going to have some structure that's going to put my feet to the fire in my activities, but it's also going to reward me when I put myself in the lane that makes me happy and I purport those energies within it, those characteristics. Saturn never picks the lane. What lane makes you happy? And when you're authentic within that lane and you're willing to do the hard work regardless of the results right away, Saturn will reward you. So here we go. This is about time to observe how much you're standing in your own vision of what you want for your life, and how much are you standing in fear of other people's opinion of your version of your life. Because this is a little bit of a challenge here. We've got the Wasp, which is a stingy energy, and we've got Chantal. And I think when I look at it and I go back to the Knight of Pentacles, if indeed for some reason, because Chantal's the angel of romance, but it's at the end here, and I feel like this has more to do with loving the passion in your life. I feel like this is more to do not with another person per se, but your general everyday activities, because this is all happening in your third house of everyday activities, of how you think, what you speak, what you write. Everything that we do every day is setting a ripple out into the universe. It's creating tomorrow's experience. We're not in a vacuum. So I want to offer this rather than getting kind of annoyed with yourself, because that conjunction between Pluto, Venus, and Mars in your house could make you kind of annoyed that nothing's happening in the material world. But maybe Pluto's affecting something deeper. And that deeper is really more palatable, more, I don't want to say more important, but I'm going to, because it's been calling forth. I believe that there are humans on this planet whose souls have been activated to represent a higher vibration of the human experience. So again, while it will not insulate us from challenges, it will give us an opportunity to walk through those challenges in a way that powerfully co-creates. So I want to offer Capricorn an opportunity. Don't get yourself all bunched up this week, and really give yourself an opportunity to move more towards your passion. Because if you ask me, Bridget and the Wasp are asking you to look deeper into why you might feel stingy. And it's also telling me that there's a part of you that gets to step up into a higher vibration and maybe ignore the things that haven't made you happy or have been a little stingy. I feel like this very much relates to what's happened to me recently. I had I really feel like I've been very authentic in interpreting a certain relationship, and the relationship, there's a part of me that wanted to feel wronged within that relationship. And yet at the same time, I'm the one who put expectations that the other person never agreed to. So why should they be obligated to something they didn't agree to? Capricorn, I need you to dig a little deeper. Because if you're willing to be stoic and do something no one asked you to do, it doesn't mean anybody else wants to do it. Okay, let's go on to our Scorpios. Now, I think this is interesting because Pluto and Mars are both, your rulers, and they're being activated in a conversation with Venus in a house that offers you new structure, if indeed you're willing to be brave and maybe get out of your depression. It's easy to be depressed right now. There's a lot going on to feel depressed about. All right, here we go. I'm going to pull one card with the tarot deck to represent the energy of the week, and then we'll go into the other decks to see where the detail comes in. Scorpio, this is I'm sorry. I'm going on to Sagittarius. Woohoo, woohoo. My wrong, my bad. I'm glad I had my notes. Sagittarius, Capricorn, Sagittarius, Scorpio. Rewrite, redo. No, I just starting Sagittarius right now. I'm a goofball. All right, Sagittarius, this is in your 4th house of home, offering new beginnings. And I want to offer this too, because I love the idea that the new moon's at the Piscean degree. I love that the date of the new moon is an 11, the master number of thought. And I love that your ruling planet is in the conversation. So what do you want for what makes you feel at home? How do you want this? What do you want to declare about this new place? And I don't want to talk about like literally brick and mortar as much as what it feels like when you walk in that home. I used to watch these TV shows and, Ozzie and Harriet and all these kind of shows that had this unrealistic, at least in my world, sense of love for one another. And when I started to peel back the onion, I realized that it really didn't matter whether it was Stanford and Son and they were working out of a junkyard, or whether it was, uh, something else. It was the connection of the people. So Sagittarius, I really want you to focus in on the idea of what kind of connection would you like to feel that makes you feel at home? Because Sagittarius is the gypsy energy. So I don't know that you really need to be in a brick and mortar place. So I think this is really super powerful. Steven's taken I think Steven's traveling. I remember he said last week that he was going to be gone for the next couple weeks. So here we go. Sagittarius, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Woo! Well. The Lover's card just pulled out. Okay. So we'll take it. When cards fly out of the deck, you just have to take it. So let's look a little bit about what this represents. First of all, major arcana card. Any major arcana card is going to have more weight, more influence, more of a dynamic that's palatable than the minor arcana. Minor arcana are going to flesh out more detail. This also represents choice of lover, because who you choose as your lover, you choose a trajectory. If you choose someone who's extremely religious, you're going to follow a religious path, church every Sunday, blah, blah, blah. You marry somebody who's an alcoholic, you're going to have a different experience. This also represents the energy of Gemini, the twins. So I want to offer that Sagittarius has a lot of opportunity this week to really think about your choices and the trajectory of your life and your home life and the partnerships you are creating. And I want to offer this because I want to start with the partnership I have with myself. I want to start with, what do I believe about my ability to live my dreams? What do I believe about the ability to live my authentic self in the presence of another person? I think about this because I've lived alone a long time and I sing all the time. Like, I'm not a great singer. Okay. But I don't think I'm terrible, but my dog does not care if I sing. He doesn't chime in and tell me, oh my God, shut up. I don't want to hear that. If you live with another human being, they could very easily say to you, excuse me, I'm trying to do some peace and quiet over here. So my point is this, Sagittarius, I think the Lovers is really asking you to start to think about how you feel comfortable in your relationships and how much you're allowed to be whatever you want to be, whenever you want to be it. And in some ways to allow for this sort of idea of feeling at home within the gypsy archetype because of the connections you're making with others and versus the brick and mortar. That's where I'm going. Okay. Let's do the reading. Where are the Lords, Joshua? Because depending upon where the Lords are, there's still influence. Samantha, I do that as well. Knock on the decks to knock out the old energy. Absolutely. And I sage them as well. Okay. So Sagittarius, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. We have Teresa in the foundational position. We have Archangel Raphael in the opportunity of the obstacle, Mystique in the angel's advice, and Bethany in the final position. Teresa is being joined by the fear card. Archangel Raphael is being joined by the love card. Mystique is being joined by the frog. And Bethany is being joined by the dog. I really want to offer this because, oftentimes this feels very much like the Lovers is about relationship. Okay. And many of you may not be in a relationship. You may want to be in a relationship. I don't care what your status is in relationship. I want to put it this way. I feel as if on some level, Sagittarius is projecting a little bit too much outside of themselves about either the world or because this is about worry and fear. And we know right now that there are things going around this world that there are to worry and fear about. But I want to offer it this way because the focus of that isn't really going to get us anywhere. We're going to sort of go around in a circle. And I feel as if Archangel Raphael is offering you an epiphany in some ways about love. And I want to say it very strongly that this part of, Sagittarius is a mutable sign. And these mutable signs worry me sometimes because they become muted to the other person's energy. They line up. And I guess where I'm going with what I'm trying to say for Sagittarius is it almost feels as if there are things about yourself that are perfectly acceptable. And I don't know that you need to disclose them to any partners, but I don't think you should stop being them. If you like to walk around and sing in your house, I dance a lot too, especially when I'm cleaning. I dance when I'm vacuuming. I dance when I'm doing, and sometimes if you think someone else is there, you may act like an idiot. Or you feel like you're acting like an idiot, or they may tell you. So this is where I'm going with this, because I feel like if you stop worrying about what anyone else thinks, you actually may end up choosing partner that'll dance around with you and enjoy the things that you love to enjoy and be silly with you. And I don't know why it's coming across that way, but it feels like I need to be vulnerable more about being myself in my relationships with others. That the opportunity and the obstacle is to understand that the love isn't the love of the other person, but the love of how I get to be me when I'm me. And the epiphany that that's an invitation to the other person, because in the angel's advice is Mystique, saying that if you keep charging ahead, miraculous solutions are going to appear. And the miraculous solution almost feels like the good luck of the frog. That's how it's represented in Asian culture. I think it's in the Chinese. The Chinese culture, they'll put the coin in the mouth of the frog in the business to create abundance. And for me, this abundance is the love of being who you are. There's on TikTok, there's been that, "It's my baby." Dun, I don't know, but there's a song. So people are walking in the kitchen and trying to get their husband who's doing the dishes, once again, to dance with them. I think this is kind of what this is about, Sagittarius. I just want to play with this idea that the new moon is offering you this idea that whatever you do in the 12th house behind closed doors of Pisces, you can do in the 4th house of home and enjoy it and feel connection. Feel this feeling of, I don't know. I almost want to say that if you're being silly, that your partner or your environment will feel silly with you rather than feeling those eyes of judgment and criticism. Okay, let's go on to our Scorpios now. This is really going to be Scorpio, and this is your 5th house of romance. So let's see. So when I say the 5th house of romance, I'm not talking about Leo. I'm talking about Scorpio. Pisces is your 5th house. This could really disclose. It could also be absolutely fabulous energy for creation. Think about the idea of Neptune being there and Jupiter expanding your imagination, expanding that willingness to dig deep. And then your ruling planet, Pluto and Mars, taking action in a more structural way, meaning if indeed you're an artist, an actor, an entrepreneur, somebody who wants to be have their own passions, create abundance and material ease, this might be a fabulous thing to declare during this new moon, because all the stars feel a little bit aligned, including the nodes. Because again, Pluto is not the worst guy in the world. Death and destruction. When we're miserable, we want the death of our misery, right? We want the destruction of our misery and the happiness. I think this is what's being offered to us right now. All right, Scorpio. Let me give a little shuffle here. In fact, I'm going to take our new friend, Samadhi, psychic medium, and I'm going to show you what she does. That's what she does. Shakes out the energy. All right, here we go. Scorpio, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Okay. 8 of Wands. Scorpio, something's happening. You know, with every new moon, there's a conclusion of something so that we can afford the new. And with every full moon, there's a new beginning. The 8 of Wands is an interesting energy because it represents news, something happening swift. It represents, let me think in my head, it represents actually Sagittarian energy in some ways. So this may be something, a conclusion that you draw about your own sense of creativity. Because let's look at the wands, their passion, creativity, they represent the fire signs. I know this is about Scorpio, but it's in your 5th house of creativity. And this represents conclusions, news, endings. And so I think there's the potential that there may be the ending of anything that has been, well, let's look and see what the angels have to say. But I think it may be the ending of fear, the ending of self-doubt, the ending of, if you think about the idea of Scorpio, there could potentially be the ending of fear. I think that the idea of Pluto could be can scare the crap out of you. And maybe you've come to a conclusion of some kind that Neptune and Jupiter are bringing forth through this new moon that is allowing you to have an awakening, to have I almost want to say, I almost feel like I hope to see that that this is the ending of resistance, that this is the conclusion that you come to. Let's see what they say, because I need to know. Who, you coming to my house? Are you guys going to come to my house? I like to have parties. I can't have big parties, but I can have parties. Okay. Scorpio, 5th house. Chantal, the angel of romance. Hello. Whoa. In the angel's advice, we have Desiree. In the opportunity, the obstacle, we have Desiree. In the angel's advice, we have Bridget. And then we have Ariel. All right. Something's going to happen in your love life, in romance. You're going to be thinking about, and I could be, I know not all of us are romance people, but it could be a viewpoint of what you love. Because there's a conclusion coming. That 8 of Wands is some sort of conclusion. Chantal is with the burden card. Desiree is with the wealth card. Bridget is with the forgiveness card. Whoop. And Ariel is being joined by the love card. All right. I'm going to say it. Scorpio, there's a very good possibility that this new moon will illuminate something within you. I know it's not a full moon. Okay. So I know that there's not a big light shining, but if indeed you have been wanting to move your story forward romantically, I feel like I'm looking at single Scorpios right now. I think you're going to get dang sick of any burden. If you've been going back and forth in something, I think you're going to start to really look deeper as to does this have, because this burden card with Chantal makes me feel like, I want to offer it this way as I interrupt myself. Scorpio, if you are looking for a superficial relationship, if you just want to be with someone, even friends, companions. I know those of us of a certain age aren't necessarily involved in romance, but companionship, you need someone who has big, deep conversations, not a yes person. If this has something to do with you creating something, 5th house is creation. It is hobbies. It's the innocence of children, not just the creation of children. I feel like this is about a recalibration of all those things. Just sort of sit back and say, have I been moving in the direction that really sings to my heart, fifth house? Have I been holding myself small in some ways, hoping that something would happen on the other side? Because when I go to the final position, I have Ariel, spiritual experiences and the feeling of love. And I feel like there's something bigger here. So this could be, let me back up a second. I feel like I got to go three different ways here because those of us at my age, I can't help but think of a certain person in this tribe who has a Scorpio stellium in the first house or, of the rising sign. This is about doing what you love. And about doing what the rest of the world loves. It's about what you love. Love you, love what your actions, your enjoyment, your pleasure, your frivolity, your laughter, because I think it's time to start to claim it. That's what Desiree is saying. Have you been, really allowing yourself to claim what you want? Because even though conditions seem a little crazy, I think that you can still do that. I think you can still step into this vibration because there's some reconciliation. And when I say reconciliation, I don't mean between two different people. I mean in your own mind. There's somewhere you have some sort of Plutonian type of revelation that brings a conclusion that allows something to make sense for you so that you can step into a deeper vibration of what it is you want to experience. I lived alone a long time. I don't know if I want to live with someone else, but do I want companionship every once in a while? Someone to go to dinner with, someone to talk about a new moon with, someone to talk about other things with? Yes. So I feel like Scorpio, this is a time to start to make a bigger declaration of what you want in the way you spend your time of enjoyment, your time with other people, feeling loved, valued, and appreciated, and to really kind of, in some respects, get a little bit of a cold heart. We talk about how Pluto has that ice heart on the planet, and it isn't about being cold to them. It's about being a little bit more about listening to your own heartbeat. All right. Welcome, Tebow. I'm going on to my Libra. Libra, this is going to be in your sixth house. I always kind of get this feeling like, the fifth house is romance. Everything's all la-di-da. We're showing our best self. We're all happy. And then the sixth house reveals a lot of truth about us, the condition of our health, the attitude of how we give service or work to others. So then, we move into the house of partnership and then into the house of deep, deep connection through intimacy. So I think this sixth house is super important to really think about, what do I enslave myself to? Where do I, as a Libra, rising moon, sun, and stelliums, is the service I do so selfless that it actually feels like a burden, or is it uplifting? Okay. And if so, because, if you're doing something that feels like a burden, it erodes your health. Tebow, welcome, welcome. Good to see you in the house. Oh, I'm not having a palpitating heart. I was kind of just listening I wanted Scorpio to listen to the beat of their own heart. And I think Uranus has something to do with those palpitating hearts, by the way. And I want to offer this as a bit of a remedy for that. If you feel your heart palpitating, I believe energetically, when my heart starts to go like this, I'm not listening to my heart, or I'm getting too caught up in a challenge that's starting to piss me off. And Spirit's saying, whoa, 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 back up. So Welsh, I want to offer this. If you're having a palpitation, taking a minute, saying, I'm honoring my heart right now. Take the breath and don't see if your heartbeat doesn't come back to normal. Ooh. Yeah, Uranus has been floating on my moon for frickin' forever. I mean, honestly, I'm so glad when I was younger I didn't study astrology to the depth I do now, because I would have been scared for the future, to be honest. I would have thought I was going to lose my mind and kill somebody. All right, here we go. Libra, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Oh, dang it. I mean to start with the tarot card. Sorry, Juan. trying to make interesting things. I have Uranus in the 5th house of Leo, and I don't want to be boring and do the same thing over and over again. And then I forget what I'm doing. Such a goofball. Okay. Here we go. Hi, mon amour. Oh, I didn't say that right. It's mon amour. Oh, I'm not saying it right. Amour. Mon amour. Is that how I say it? Thank you. I'm so glad you found us. Welcome. Okay. This is Libra. 1 card for the week on the tarot. And we have the Lovers card again. Well, isn't that exciting? Let's see what Spirit's going to say about the Lovers. I am a product of my own routines. I have to do the angels first. I keep picking up the wrong decks. The Lovers card, it's very funny to me because, when you're new to the tarot, it's all, ooh, love, romance, where's John Cusack? Where's Jennifer Aniston? But really that card is a little bit of a nightmare because it's really more about choice. And as I said before, the choice of the lover you pick is a trajectory of your life. If you pick someone who's routine bound, you're going to be bound by their routines. If you pick somebody who's a total free spirit, you better be flexible. I remember I had a friend, Michael. He moved cross country and he doesn't talk to me anymore. But, we were friends for many, many years. And a lot of people thought we should be a couple. And we got along very, very well in many, many ways. But Michael's routines and my need to change it up were just conflicting. You would have called them oppositions. And it really kept us from being able to be a couple because Michael was the type of guy that had to have the same omelet every Sunday morning. And I'm the type of gal that can't eat the same thing 2 days in a row. It was a nightmare. All right, Libra. Our first angel is Mystique. The second is Desiree. The third is Athena. And the final is Fiona. All right, what are we charging ahead towards? I know, the Lovers back to back. Ooh. That's why I think choice is so important, because I don't think karma is about doing something bad and then something bad happens to you. I think karma is a series of choices that kicks in the laws of attraction that then looks like you're being punished, but you're not. But you're thinking the same way over and over again. And remember, I want to remind for those of you that are new in the room or just got here, this new moon is on a master number 11 day, 3-2-2-2-2. 2022. Sorry. I'm making it seem like it's 200 years from now. Libra, Mystique is being joined by the Trust card. Desiree is being joined by the Dragon. Athena is being joined by the Burden card. And Fiona is being joined by the Restriction card. Okay. So I want to offer this for my Libras. This is in your 6th house of service, of health, of okay, I'm going to tell you a weird story. Okay, I'm going to tell you a weird story. I don't know why. It's a health story. If indeed any of you are at a crossroads and making decisions about your health, we know that that's been on the books for quite some years, 2 years now. But I'm going to take this a couple different directions. So bear with me. Back in 17 something or other, I can't remember, 1765, whatever, 1865, somewhere back then there was yellow fever and typhoid fever. And I can't remember exactly which one, maybe both, but the patient once succumbed to the disease, the fever. They appeared to die and they would be buried. Okay. Well, then they would wake up in the coffin, 6 feet under, and they weren't really dead. Okay. And eventually a grave digger built this system where he'd tie a string around their toe and thread it up through the dirt and put a bell on it, and it would be saved by the bell because the person would shake their foot and the bell would ring and then they'd dig them out. My point is this, is that the body knows how to do things that sometimes man doesn't know how to do. And well, the doctors thought these people were dead. They buried them. They were not treating them with drugs. They were not treating them with herbs. They were not treating them with anything. They were sayonara sucka, and they came back to life. So I want to offer Libra, if indeed you're dealing with any sort of health issue. Right now, I think part of it is for you to take care by or be mindful about what you are eating and the choices you're making in your food, but also to trust the process of your body coming back online. The trust card is a 47, which reduces down to an 11. So overall, this dynamic of this new moon in Pisces coming into your 6th house of health, service, and being of a spiritual nature in general is going to ask Libra to really dig deep as to what do you believe about yourself and the viability of your 6th house activities. Because sometimes we believe we're supposed to create when conditions aren't favorable. We believe we should just plow through bad times. And we have to understand that when conditions aren't favorable, it's important to be mindful of our energy and the resistance that we could potentially have. And that's what I talked about earlier in the broadcast. I'm a Libra sun. And one of the things that I've been really was illuminated by this last week was my trying to overpower a challenging situation to make it right when I needed to surrender to it and come at it more gently. Because for most Libras, I think this is actually, I'm an Aries rising Libra. So if you're a true Libra rising, Libra moon, you may inadvertently be too partnership oriented, and it's time to assert yourself in a loving way. And it could feel like a burden to do so. But I want to offer it this way. It's about being calm and not letting the pressure cooker build, because something is going on that spirit has to bring into play before you can take the next step forward. Your job, I think, during this Pisces moon is to go into the idea of what makes you feel spiritually fulfilled in your way of service, in your way of worship even. Okay. If indeed you could be contemplating different forms of honoring all that is, because spirit is bringing in something to you, but you can't make it happen. Fiona says, now that you've asked God and the angels for help, be open to receiving. And the restriction card, I think, is a pause so that you can start to contemplate really, really what makes you happy. Really, really what it is that where you want to assert yourself. The shadow side of Libra is being so cooperative in partnership that they don't like confrontation. And that's a misinterpretation, because speaking your wants and desires does not have to be confrontational. It can be informational, depending upon how you feel about it. Okay. And it may have to do with the relationship and expressing yourself in a relationship. I'm not in a relationship. So I kind of always want to open that up a little bit more. Okay, let's go on to our Virgos, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. This is going to be in your 7th house. Contractual partnerships. Is she a good boss, Shelley? Thank you, Brandon. Hi, Susie. Hola. Oops. Oh my goodness, sloppy tea. All right, here we go. Virgo, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. She's not a good boss, Shelley. That's kind of funny. Okay, here we go. Oh, dang it. I did it again. Forgot to start with the tarot deck. I get all these fancy ideas and then I don't even remember to do them. I remember when I was younger, I used to say to my friends, remind me when I'm older that I used to forget stuff when I was younger, okay? I'm just a dummy sometimes. Contractual partnerships. Okay, I don't understand the no. Is she is a good boss, or no, she's not a good boss? I'm confused. I thought you were saying she was. Anyway. All right. Virgo. Here we go. We have the Knight of Cups. This is a very interesting, because the Knight of Cups, when I first started learning about the tarot, they would call the knights the teenagers of the tarot. They had kind of a duplistic energy. It could be very loving and then very annoying. So I want to offer this for my Virgos. I think that this is about offering your cup of love. And I want to look at all the fishies on his uniform, on his armor, because this is a Piscean new moon. And I want to offer the idea that as you walk forward, the shadow side of Virgo is critical. The shadow side of Virgo is judgmental and the perfectionist. And I don't know why anybody should think the Virgin should know what they're doing. This is a journey. So I think this new moon in the 7th house is about really kind of stepping into a more spiritual, or that's kind of a crazy word to use, spiritual, because to find the divine in challenge isn't easy, but there is a divinity to it, even to your own challenges. So it isn't to look back and say, I haven't offered my cup of love, but more, how do I offer my cup of love? This is what was going on with Lucky this week. I started teasing and calling him my husband because I really don't think that he is my dog. We're in a partnership of some kind. And he has absolute desires, wants. And when I try to act like the human is more important than the dog, he becomes an a-hole. And when I start to respect his opinion, he becomes nicer. And I feel like this is something, and being aware of my loving energy, my inflection, my tone. I really feel like this is a super important idea for Virgo right now. It's not like offering the cup of love in a delusional way where somebody else's flaws get to just stomp all over you, but rather how being more focused on how you're showing up and if you're representing the energy that you want to be in all ways, in all partnerships. Again, I said contractual partnerships. So I'm not necessarily talking about just love relationships. Let's go into the reading. I know, at least I can own it too, but I really like at this point, not just owning it, I want to shift it because it's really, there was something that happened in such a way. I mean, I can't tell you what a circumstance, because it wasn't a circumstance. It was more of a awakening in my mind when I imagined that episode of Cesar Millan, because I watched The Dog Whisperer for like 2-3 years before I ever even had a dog. I was so fascinated with how he was side-eyeing energy through the leash to people. He's like, it's not your dog, it's you. And I'm like, oh my God, this guy's from spirit. So anyway, he's a Virgo, by the way. So I just was like, I don't know. I just think that it was so valuable this week to watch myself kind of acknowledge that I was being too forceful and I needed to kind of try a new way of showing up. And it worked. Now, if I can do that with humans. All right, here we go. Virgo, rising moon, sun and stelliums. Our first angel is Fiona. The second is Chantal. The third is Indriel. And the final is Opal. We had the Knight of Cups offering his love. And here's Chantal and the angel's advice. And the opportunity or the obstacle. Were you doing the hustle? What were you doing? Were you doing the boogie oogie? Were you doing the swim? Were you doing the mashed potato? What were you dancing? Okay. Fiona, look at me. I'm so retarded. I don't know where I am. So distracted today. I don't even know what I'm distracted by. Gosh. All right. Fiona is being joined by the dog, unconditional love, loyalty, and sincerity. We have Chantal with the birth and the rebirth card. We have Indriel and the Queen. And we have Opal and the High Priestess. I find this fascinating, okay? Here it is, Virgo, 7th house of partnerships and contractual relationships. We have the Knight offering a cup of love. We have Fiona saying, now that you've asked God and the angels for help, be open to receiving. And you know something? Those of you that aren't looking for love, but maybe loyalty, people who show up, people who do what they say they're going to do, and they're real. because I think this is a turning point for you. And I feel like this is the opportunity for a birth, a rebirth. There's Chantal. We've got this aspect with Mars and Venus and Pluto making aspects to the nodes. And I think this is important because it feels like it is a fated event in some ways. And it's a calling forth of sincerity from others, not necessarily intimate love, but those that say they care about you, that they love you, and those that you love. It's about mirroring what it is you want to receive. It's about allowing for the rebirth so we don't go too much into our old history and start digging that up over and over and over again. Because Indriel is saying in the angel's advice that this epiphany affords you an opportunity to feel more receptive here, to feel more of this receiving energy. And then Opal, it's interesting to me because Opal to me really represents this opportunity to feel the innocence of my own higher self, to feel the comfort of God and the angels and the more divine part of myself. You know, part of this experiment was not this morning. In the beginning of the broadcast, I mentioned to you guys that, you know, Lucky and I, he's not eating his breakfast. And I feel like that's where he gets his nutrients and he just wants to go on to the TREATSs, right? And normally I'm like, oh, you need to eat your breakfast. Today, I was like, oh, my voice is like this. I just left the plate there. I'm like, isn't it yummy? And then I went and meditated. And I was aware of my resistance, aware of my being too forceful. And I surrendered. And then he finished his plate. He left 2 bites on the plate. Was I going to make him eat that? No. This is me compromising. Somewhere, Virgo, as you give life to the idea of handing your cup of love, your cup of loyalty, your cup of sincerity, and not in a blind way, not in a Neptunian foggy way, but more in a way that if indeed that person is not responding appropriately, then I'll move out. But I think something's happening where more loyalty, more sincerity, more feeling like you can trust the people that say that they have your back is coming your way. And I want to give life to it during this new moon. So again, you know, you get to be a certain age and intimate love isn't exactly the highest priority, but having people that relate to you, that feel a sense of rhythm in the way that you think, that becomes very important. CJD, his tummy is fine. He's been having he's got a little ear infection right now, but really he's much better. He's got Venus and Jupiter in Taurus, and he's totally food oriented, and he loves fish. All he wants to eat is fish, fish, fish. He wants to eat wolf skins and cod skins, and you know, that's just his story. So when I try to make him eat his, you know, little lamb patty with the nutrients in it, he's like, so I don't feed him any kibble. He's not a kibble guy. So, you know, I just have to surrender. You know, he know who he picked, and I literally sit with him and eat now. It's ridiculous. I've created a beast. Yes, I've created a beast. All right, here we go on to our Leo. This Pisces new moon is going to be in your 8th house. Let's see what Spirit wants you to know. God, I'm taking forever today. We have the Hanged Man, which is very interesting because it represents Neptune in astrology. And I want to offer it this way because this is a very spiritual energy from the Hanged Man. It's about an epiphany. It's about taking a pause. This character, if you look at the card, he's not really bound and gagged to this apparatus he's hanging from. He could, if he was strong enough in his core, just lift himself up and out. But he's here because it's time to turn things upside down, to allow for an awakening and an epiphany. So let's see, in your 8th house of transformation. So I also want to offer it this way because the 8th house by nature is about other people and resources commingled with other people. So there could be this opportunity for you to have an epiphany about that dynamic. All right, here we go. I just think that our dogs are turning into humans because they see us eat different things all the time. And they're like, well, I don't want to eat the same thing every day. That's boring. Thank you, Joshua. Thank you. All right, here we go. We have Mystique. We have Opal. We have Fiona. And we have Astera. You know, lately, with a lot of my clients, I've been feeling this idea that they're going, nothing's happening. What do I do? Nothing's happening. What do I do? And I'm like, no. Things are happening you can't see. So if you try to do on what you know now, you may inadvertently get in the universe's way. So hold on a second. Because again, Leo, we need to give time for an epiphany, for some sort of illumination. What do Jupiter and represent? In some ways, higher thinking, bigger concepts. I want to remove the fog of Neptune. Okay, Mystique is being joined by the Perception card. Opal is being joined by the Letting Go card. Fiona is being joined by the Hawk. And Astera is being joined by the Fear card. Okay, so you know I always tell you the stories of how I am. This dynamic that Lucky went through from one whack-a-mole thing to another really had one bottom line thing going on. The whack-a-mole, when I say the whack-a-mole, is first he got the little fungus, then his paws, then his ear, then his eye. Then I went back around and it was all these like ridiculously superficial things going on. Okay. And what I had was an epiphany that during October, around my birthday, I looked at Lucky and I said, oh my God, life is so good. We're so happy. And I felt like, as I said it, I was tempting the fates. I was literally hearing the other shoe drop. I kind of had a moment where, this is where I'm going with this. Because I think for my Leos, this is a time to really keep charging ahead with your perception, because what I realized is somewhere I couldn't take in my happiness. I was so happy and everything was so fine that where's something going to go wrong? And sure enough, something started, because I really think that what happened and what I've had and what epiphany that's being offered to Leo in the house of transformation and spirituality, of what's hidden underneath, is an opportunity for you to really walk away with some fears and know that there are certain things you cannot control, no matter how hard you try. And it's up to God and the angels to watch over those things. And sometimes if you were able to actually control them, you would drive them in a direction that would not really serve the purpose you want. Because God and the angels are saying, now that you've asked Leo for help, be open to receiving. And that receiving, we see Fiona having this epiphany here. And we see the Hanged Man having this epiphany here. And we see the Hawk offering signs and omens. I don't think this is necessarily about having to pull your sight up today, but really to start to seek the signs and omens that the path you're taking, while it's still in an unsure place, you're starting to operate from your heart chakra, which is one of the challenges of Leo. So Astera says to keep charging ahead. That's not true. She says to reach for the stars with your dreams and desires and not to compromise, because I think you're going to learn, Leo, how fear is actually working for you. It's not trying to pull you under. So this is where I go back to this idea that I'm grateful for this period of time, as challenging as it was, because it kept asking me to dig deeper. What do you want me to know, Spirit? What is this dog teaching me? I'm sick of this lesson, but I'm going to walk through it. Thank you for... And every time I thought I was done with it, I could see that in the back of my head, my dominant thought was, I don't know, I'm not sure. And the thing about my own personal health and my dog's health, as soon as I deferred and had that epiphany and surrendered, it's fine. I don't need to do anything anymore. I just get to be my perception. Keep charging ahead, paying attention to my perception. And things balanced out. And they're continuing to balance out. That's where I'm going. All right, let's go on to our Cancers. This is the 9th house foreign travel, belief, higher education and schooling. Thoughts are things, very, very powerful things. And partially the brain is branded. From a very small age, your brain becomes literally branded with things. So if you hear something over and over again, you inadvertently believe it. Money doesn't grow on trees. Money doesn't grow on trees. Money doesn't grow on trees. Well, it does grow on trees. It's paper. And if we really bought into the idea that it grows on trees, we'd feel abundant. And if we felt abundant, more money would come. But what we do inadvertently when we say money doesn't grow on trees is we send a vibration of lack. That's what we're here to do, is to start to align our words with what we want to experience and then rise through challenging times and set the example. Do you want to go with us? Do you want to believe in what you can't see, but what is absolutely tangible when you align to it? All right, here we go, Cancer. Our tarot card for the week is the Ace of Cups. This is the infusion of love, the infusion of an emotional, warm, fuzzy, yummy feeling. And I want to say, I take note to the angel of peace, or not the angel of peace, but the dove above that represents peace. And the peace is by looking into my cup and how full my cup really is, and offering me. I feel like God is offering me things that will overflow. And my job is in many ways to say, I am ready to receive. And I want to offer this too, because I think it's really, really challenging for the human by nature to feel love, to feel secured, to feel supported by the universe. So I think on some level, we have this opportunity with Cancer, and this being your 9th house, to really anchor in those concepts, Jupiter and Neptune, in a way that says, you know what? Jesus loves me. Yes, he does, because the Bible tells me so. I mean, it sounds kind of rudimentary and childlike, but it's very true. And if Jesus isn't your person, you can say the universe, you can say all that is, whoever it is, it's the intention and the ripple effect of that intention that's going to create the new experience. So let's find out what this is about in Cancer's 9th house. You know, it's funny. I have a light above, fan light. And when my cousin first killed himself a few years ago, every time I would talk to his wife on the phone, the light would go on and off. And oftentimes he would just turn it off and it wouldn't even come back on. And I used to think, is this somebody actually pressing a button? Like this became a joke. And then I stopped talking to his wife, not because I wanted to, it just, things fade to dark, and it didn't happen anymore. So I would offer you this small. If indeed it's the spirit of something, tell them to make something 3 times, give you validation. Otherwise, if it is a spirit, if it is an electrical problem, thank spirit for not having a fire. All right, Cancer. Oceana, hello, your angel. If there ever was a Cancer angel, there you go. Then we have Azure, your desired outcome will happen in the near future. Grace and Antoinette, the angels of compassion. And the final is Opal. Oh my goodness. Well, then talk to your friend that passed away last year. Maybe she's trying to get your attention. Is it a she? I just felt like it was a she. All right, here we go. Meaning small wildflowers. Was your friend a she? Oceana is being joined by the love card, Cancer. Azure's being joined by the disruption card. Grace and Antoinette is being joined by the forgiveness card. And Opal is being joined by the horse. Okay, this is what I want to say. Everything is about love, and love is not always about love with an intimacy. Love is a vibration, kumbaya, feeling peaceful, feeling a flow in life, feeling like life is worth living. And I want to go back to the idea that everything here is asking Cancer to start to play to this idea that spirit is urging you to walk up through your emotional body towards the things that you love, and to really look at your beliefs about love. This, I hate to sound like a broken record, but there was a sense of peace that came to me when I realized that I'd been working the laws of attraction, but was I really conscious and aware of how I was accepting and receiving love? I was getting love. Good things are happening, but am I taking it in? Am I feeling it? Am I recognizing it? Because I think this is what this is about, Cancer. It's about really taking within your emotional body that love comes in many, many ways. It comes from a comment sometimes on a video that brings me to tears. And it's the most love I've felt in a week or more. Because Azure says your desired outcome will happen in the near future. Have patience and faith and don't try to force it. But the disruption card is here. And I kind of want to go back to the idea of how are you perceiving it? Is Neptune bringing in a little bit too much water and fog? Is things feeling unclear? Because I think when you step back and you're like, whoa, I think love's been coming to me much more strongly than I've been able to take in. Maybe the universe has been protecting me by not giving me some of the things I want, or by delaying them in some way. Because in the angel's advice is nothing but compassion and reconciliation for the compassion of the journey. I really want to offer this. I hate challenges. I really do. I sat here like pulling my hair out of my head. My poor dog. I bought him socks, 2 cones, 4 different pairs of pajamas, and all just like crazy weird stuff to, not in a good vibration. But I have compassion for this journey I've been on, because what I've learned is it was all about my energy. And I could be on Amazon all day long and buy remedy after remedy. It wasn't until I was aware of my energy that things started to calm down. So here we go. In the final position is Opal, saying that everything is safe. And it's time for you to believe it. I think this is representing Sagittarius right now, that 9th house of beliefs, stretching yourself, going in a new direction, believing that if there's a disruption in some way, maybe it's just a little bit about you thinking you know what you want, but there's something bigger. There's something more savory. There's something more rich and long lasting. So I want you to think of this new Piscean moon and about how you perceive love. How do you perceive how you receive love? Love in all stages. Love from your employers, love from the young people in your life, love from the pets, love from your community, love from your person at the market, how people smile at you. And just take a minute to take it in. Just versus the madre that wants to give. All right, enough of that. On to our Tauruses. Ooh, my goodness gracious. I don't know why I have such butterfingers today. I will tell you, Joshua, could be a little frightening, because I am a little worried about people who have addiction issues during this new moon. The idea could very much be expanded. Jupiter expands things. Neptune is escapism. So I would just offer this, that your brother can see the wisdom of his challenges, because oftentimes, and I don't know how, what chapter of life he's in, but I was just telling someone yesterday that, I read this book by Richard Bach years ago called The Bridge Across Forever. And in it, it said, there was a passage that said that someday you will come back to appreciate your challenges. You'll come back to a place. Gemini, thank you very much. Small Wildflowers. Thank you, guys. Oh my God, I almost goofed again. Thank you, Welsh. Thank you. I goofed. But let me go back real quick to the story, and I'll go Gemini. What Richard was saying in the book was basically that there are certain chapters we go through that during them we feel like we're in hell. We feel like there's no point to it, but then somewhere wisdom comes in. And as we move forward, we see the wisdom of what came before. So for me, a lot of my, I've told you guys, Pluto is conjunct almost every single one of my planets, every single one throughout my life except my moon, and it made oppositions to that. So I started to realize that maybe that's why I came here, was to help transform, to help myself transform, and doing so to share my fabulously flawed experience. Because I don't ever try to be perfect on this show. I don't ever think I have all the answers. I'm just willing to keep seeking. Am I doing my best? Am I vibrationally aligned? And I want to be a victor, not a victim. I'm tired of the victim mentality. So this is where I'm going with this idea. So let's go into Gemini and your 10th house. I forgot why I started that story, to be honest with you. I don't know what's wrong with my brain today. I didn't drink or anything last night. I got a good night's sleep. I got my tea here. My morning walk with my dog husband. Okay. Gemini, what is your tarot card this week? Transformation, the rising of the phoenix. I love it. Now, most people are scared by the death card, but I want to offer this. More times than not, we are sick and tired of things in our life, and we wish they would stop and go away. And the death card can represent that very thing. So don't be afraid of the death card. It also represents Scorpio and Pluto, transformation. And I think this may be a transformation in the public eye, or some way how you perceive yourself as being seen and responsible within the public eye. Our first angel for our Geminis is Layla. The second is Teresa. The third is Archangel Michael. And the final is Patience. Layla is being joined by the Forgiveness card. Teresa is being joined by the Burden card. Archangel Michael is being joined by the Wealth card. And Patience is being joined by the Letting Go card. Okay, this is going to sound kind of funny, but I don't want to take away from my younger Gemini crowd. But I felt like this was a reinvention of Gemini. I'm 50 something. I'm 62 years old, and I didn't start to really be Teri till I went into my 50s. And I felt like when I looked at this is about Gemini sort of really getting real about how I want to spend my days, how I want to do my work life, the rules I give myself. And maybe there's a little something that's kind of worn out and stale. And it's time to give life to a new idea of how do I want to make money? How do I want to... I can't help but think of that 10th house as Pisces, is this idea of doing work from my heart, my spiritual heart, what makes me feel fulfilled. So I want to offer this. I feel like this is a time to spend in meditation for my Geminis, really starting to set an intention with spirit. When I turned 55, I think it was, 50, I started my business working for when I was 54. So I've been doing it for 8 years. And I kept saying to Spirit, if I'm meant to do this work, then you're going to bring me the clients and the resources I need to be able to and live my passion. I feel as if there's something about Gemini that you get. This is the reconciliation. This is where it all makes sense to me. So if you want to make jewelry, you want to open an Etsy store and have a product, it's time to start to spend, using this new moon as a ritual in some respects to plant the seed and the idea with spirit. Because right now I think there's so much worry about everyone you're responsible for and everything you have to take care of, that you're sort of cutting off the opportunities that could be there if you were to step forward. It's almost as if you're thinking that the devil that you know is safer than the devil you don't know, but you could potentially make a lot more money. Think about Venus, Mars, and Pluto all being together, and take the love out of Venus and put your skills and your money in there. And if you're courageous enough to take action on it, even through your mental process, Gemini, you can start the wheels moving, the laws of attraction that bring the resources and the opportunities to make this move forward more in that public eye, because Archangel Michael is asking you to have the courage to be harmoniously wealthy, to actually think about the idea that it isn't just about money, it's about time, it's about your health being balanced and enjoying all of this. Because patience and the letting go card, it feels like it's a time to strategize. It feels like it's a time to think about the next chapter and to really allow Neptune's illusions to I think a little bit about the illusion is, can I create? Will people come? If I went out and looked for something else, would I be am I aged out? I don't think so. And I think it's time for Gemini to get out of that back and forth energy and to sort of sit down in a more spiritual place and say, you know what? I don't really know how it'll play out, but if you start to lead me, if you start to give me those, if you start to open the door, Spirit, then I will be brave enough to step through it. And this is the example. And I don't think everybody in this tribe wants to be a spiritual healer. You may want to be something else, an accountant, an actor, a singer, a garbage man. I don't care what you want to be, all right? But I feel like if you say to Spirit, I really am interested in da 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 da. And if you give me an opportunity or a sign, I'll follow it. But please give it to me at my pace so you don't scare me too much, because I'm used to something solid. And if I move too quickly, I'll scare myself. So Spirit will give you the illumination and the confirmation that you will be rising like the phoenix. Because this letting go card, as you guys know, is really about moving away from fear. It's the song Let It Go from the movie Frozen. It's time to see what I can do to test the limits, to break through. No right, no wrong, no rules for me. I'm free. And I 100% believe that Teri has worked for herself 8 years. I believe my work is valuable, but I also believe I'm aligned to that value. So I am creating with spirit. So when I call forth for clients, I don't just call forth for people to come and find me. I tell Spirit to bring the people to me who will best be served by my gifts and my talents. So there's a sense of trust as I step into the dynamic. Gemini, it's time to start to anchor that in and put a sense of trust within this dynamic, that if you call it forth, Spirit is aligned to help you be successful. And your job is to stay connected. All right. Because I think you can start a whole new chapter. This death card feels actually really good to me. And when I look at it, look at this priesty kind of thing. This feels like Jupiter run amok, as if I believe in weird dynamics that aren't necessarily true, like you're born a sinner. There you go. There's a concept I don't believe. So that gets to die. All right, now we go on to Taurus. My moon. Shelly, happy birthday. Is it your birthday on Wednesday? Ooh, same day as the new moon. What a fun day. All right, here we go. Whoop. Taurus, what is your tarot card this week? We love you back, Shelly. All right, Natalia, it's your moon, exalted in Taurus. And I always think this is important. This is a very powerful energy to be exalted in, because the moon rules how I feel. And I think it's super important that Taurus rules security and insecurity. So this is all sort of lining up to be really strong and powerful. So let's see. Just give me a good shuffle, please, ladies and gentlemen. And can I randomly just say that I think I'm craving a Taco Bell taco right now? A crunchy supreme taco with extra hot sauce. Is Nikki in the room? All right, here we go. Our tarot card for Taurus this week is the Seven of Cups. This is very interesting energy because if you look at the cups, everything, it's like the ultimate double-edged sword, right? So here we have, I always like to use the cup with the death and the victory wreath, because in order for something to be victorious, oftentimes death is the result on the flip side. So, and our character here sits in a bit of the unknown. So for my Taurus, I feel as if this particular new moon is about not necessarily going too deep into the duality of things. This could happen, that could happen, good news, bad news. We are experiencing tremendous activity in the world that is contributing to our fears, our unrest. I mean, not only our physical bodies are under some sort of crazy assault of disempowerment, but now we have, things happening in the world. I don't really want to use the words because I don't want to put the vibration out, but I want to offer that there is a wisdom to this duality. There is a wisdom to this double-edged sword, because without it, we have no choice. So I think for Taurus, there's going to be a dynamic for you this week to decide what you're going to choose to believe. Because I had somebody recently say to me that they're so disillusioned with the state of the world, they don't even want to try to make their life good. And this is a young person, somebody who's barely in their 30s. And I thought to myself, that's such a shame, because the world's always been a shit show. Okay. Look, you'll find disruption, you'll find war, you'll find atrocities and horrific things happening. Who's going to represent the balance? I will. I will thrive during challenging times. Taurus, make the decision. You're okay. Our first angel is Francesca. What will you visualize? Negativity will block your progress. Crystal says that faith and hope, there's more on the horizon. Mystique says to keep charging ahead. And then Omega offers victory. I'm telling you, I can't be bothered with the state of the world when it comes to my own life. I know it sounds ridiculous, and I know that when toilet paper gate hit, it affected me. But I also feel like this is where we're really stepping into the age of Aquarius and doing literally a vibrational shift. So, Taurus, this new moon is in your 11th house of hopes and dreams, of money, of networks and friends and large systems. But I want to go to your hopes and your dreams. I want to go to the idea of feeling financially secure. Francesca is saying, or is being joined by the forgiveness card. Crystal is being joined by the cow, abundance. Mystique is being joined by the horse. And Omega is being joined by the earth fairy. Okay, this is what I want to offer my Tauruses, especially my Taurus moons, because the exalted energy is very, very powerful. The nodes are being triggered. Taurus, the North Node is in Taurus. So there can be this very strong pull to want to move towards the North Node's energy. And I feel as if this is as my Taurus moon had this epiphany. Negativity wasn't just being negative. It was resistance. It was trying to control a situation too much. Taking too much action. What do I need to do? 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 Stop doing. It's a being energy. What's my being energy? It's edgy, it's nervous, it's anxious. And when I recognize that about myself, I could shift. Because now is a time to feel abundant within this place of faith, the place of a bigger picture. Basically a bull is a cow. And there's asking and receiving and abundance being offered to you, but it isn't going to come because you've asked for a material flag to be put into the ground to claim it. It's going to come because you're co-creating it with spirit in a constant ebb and flow. And that ebb and flow comes from your willingness to keep charging ahead and knowing that it isn't hard work that creates abundance. It's my belief that I deserve abundance, and the work comes afterward. Because now is a time to truly use the horse's energies to accept help from spirit and delegate authority. Both of these horses are moving in a different direction. In the same direction. So it's important to keep connected with your connection to spirit, because you have victory ahead of you. And that victory, we see 3 horses now. This is your belief system. This is a Sagittarius energy. It's a connection to the angelic realm that then becomes rooted in the earthly experience. And I want to offer it this way, because because there's also the idea of physical health is attached to the earth fairy. So I want to offer this. For a couple of years, I had an abscess in my mouth. I was advised to go to the doctor, and I had gone to the doctor for one previously, and I decided not to. I decided to do the medical mediums protocol. I wasn't good at it. That's why it took 2 years. But what I will say is that I did it because I wanted to know how strong my body was, and I was willing to bet on myself. That thing's gone. Completely 100% gone. I've watched my body come back online and in balance as a result of paying attention to what I'm putting in my body. So on top of that, I want to say to Taurus, there is the potential that in order for you to feel truly thriving and abundant in this time, there is a potential that you need to watch what you're putting in your body, and not to eliminate things, but rather to see how your body's responding to it. What I found was that when my body was really out of balance, and I didn't know it was so much out of balance, I responded to things much more harshly. As I became more imbalanced, the things that I shouldn't eat weren't affecting me exactly the same way. So I want to offer that, because I think there's something going on here where within your 11th house of hopes and dreams, that's where I'm going. I'm not really going to the networks. I'm going to this idea that as you shift the way you're focusing, and this is where I go back to that story about, burying the people who died from typhoid and they came back to life in their coffins. The body knows what to do when it's properly taken care of. And I think that you're preparing on some level to take your physical being to align to what your hopes are to experience later, and now push it into the real world. Because all of this energy between the horse and the cow tell me I'm moving towards abundance, and my physical body is part of that abundance. So if you've had a challenge with something, I almost want to encourage you to say, how can I empower myself before I look to somebody else to fix the problem? So if there's something going on financially, is it something that I can start to align to bringing more abundance in? Because when we feel financially challenged, it erodes our health because of our stress. There's something about food that's coming up with me for this today. And my stomach is growling while I say all this, and I did have breakfast, so I don't know why that's happening. But I want to offer this, because this cow may be a little bit about dairy. So I want to offer my Taurians, maybe you want to play with your dairy. If you like dairy, maybe it's starting to affect you, and you don't think it is. So maybe we just kind of start to play with it. I don't want to give you medical advice, but I think you've got a victory coming ahead if you start to play with this a little bit. Celery juice is an amazing thing. I really resist it, but it does great things for my body. And I do believe the celery juice helped remove the virus that was creating what was going on in my system. So, all right, let's go on to our Aries, our final sign. It was a very, very long broadcast today. I apologize for my endless dribble. I say dribble, I don't really mean it. But when I throw an extra card in the mix, it always makes things go a little longer. Yeah, you can play with your food. You can play with your food. We should play with our food. It's fun to play with our food. Oh, and I just could, put my mind in a place, I'll tell you. All right, here we go. Our final sign, Aries, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Our tarot card for the week is the Two of Wands, which is actually, it represents an Aries energy. It is the 2, 3, 4 of the wand suits represents the Aries energy, and being able to see your world, being able to look out onto your world and really start to imagine and start to give life to the passions of what you want. And I can't help but when I notice this to see how nicely anchored this is right here. So there's a part of this character that tells me he's got part of his world already wrapped up and sort of taken care of. And now it's about sort of looking at something, building upon that. Okay. I can't help but notice the position of the wand. It feels slightly shorter than this one here. So this one makes me feel like I've got something established that gives me something to sit on. And now it's about allowing for passion. All this red and orange is my sacral chakra and my base chakra, and starting to really sit and grow from there up through my passions and my wants and my desires. I see my world more clearly. And now the pioneering spirit. Let's see where you're going. Because this is your 12th house. And the 12th house, well, it represents hospitals and laboratories and research and things like that. I can't help but think of it representing past lives in some ways, and karma, in the sense of this is very much, this new moon can give Aries an opportunity to set out on a path for themselves that doesn't have to be so wrought with the more challenging dynamics of Aries blunt energy or Aries taking no prisoners energy. Because I feel like this is Aries wanting to develop a world that is serene and calm, and yet I'm still getting to be myself. So we have our first angel is Chantal, the angel of romance and love. Then we have Crystal, the angel of faith and unseen. We have Patience in the angel's advice. And then we have Merlina. Let's see how this love thing plays out. We have the Swan. This is Aries falling in love with themselves as they retain the essence of Aries. And yet now I start to use that energy as a strategic spiritual warrior, as a peaceful warrior, because the Swan represents transformation and intuition. The Crystal and the Queen are here together in the opportunity or the obstacle. Patience and the Cat in the angel's advice. And finally, we have the Dog. You know, I'm kind of a champion for the lower energies, as they say. You know, you call a planet a malefic, I'm going to find the best part of it. If you call Aries a warrior and you don't give life to the courage and the bravery it takes to defend what you love, I'm gonna rustle up against it. So I want to offer this new moon for my Aries is going to have you see the spiritual side of yourself and start to really dig into the fact that you're probably one of the most loving signs of the zodiac, because you're the bravest and you're willing to put your neck out. And sometimes people don't like that you're so willing to do that, but I think as you learn how to use your sword more efficiently and a master, then you'll see that appreciation and the love that you, and the sincerity and loyalty that you'd like from the group will start to really truly manifest. Because I'm not going to intimate love. I'm going to the idea of transformation and how I view myself, really trusting that I'm not the ugly duckling. I've transformed into the swan, and everything about my essence is still there, but my awareness and my choice. Am I going to use my sword today? And if I'm going to use it, am I going to cut up something for lunch, or am I going to lob your head off? I am aware of my choices, and I love that about me now, because I feel like I'm starting to own this. I'm starting to be the queen. I'm much calmer. I'm trusting a little bit more of the unknown, because the unknown feels like a baton pass. oh, it's not the unknown. It's my teammate. It's spirit giving me an opportunity to observe when they're communicating with me, because now is a time to observe and study, because spirit will tell you when it's next to take action. And I say that because the cat's independence takes action regardless of what anybody else thinks. The cat will not stay unless it is literally locked inside of a home and never allowed out. It will not stay with an unloving energy. It will leave. The dog will stay forever and be abused. So I think that this is an opportunity for my Aries to truly implement the ideas of calm reception, the peaceful warrior, and observing yourself making this transformation to give 9 lives, a new life to yourself. Because while you're sitting still in process in many ways, you're starting to be able to take in the idea that there is love, loyalty, and sincerity come to you. Being a 12th house Aries South Node in Placidus makes me feel like I've been imprisoned, as if I've said things and done things and defended things that weren't appreciated. And maybe even some people who I was defending were the betrayers. And I think in this opportunity with this new moon is for Aries to feel something very different. And Aries wants to take action, sometimes without even thinking. It just wants to move, move, move. Now, through the peaceful warrior's energy, I'm realizing that I'm working in concert. So I'm not just taking action. I'm taking action in cooperation with spirit. So I've learned that, yes, it's important to move forward, but I also know how to deflect when my enemy is coming, so his own energy wipes him out. I hope that made sense, because I think this is a very, very powerful thing for Aries, an opportunity to really start to feel like a team, but not necessarily a team with another human being just yet, but with spirit, and them starting to reveal to you that your world is starting to roll out the way you want. Because being an Aries rising, I have defended people who I felt were the underdogs. And then the underdog threw me under the bus because I was rubbing up against the rules of engagement. So, all right, guys, that's it. I hope you have a wonderful new week, a new moon. Again, don't forget to look for Wednesdays, our new word vibration of the week. I hope you'll like it. I hope you'll participate and let me know how these words are landing on you. We're going to be putting out some meditation videos and even some fun little remedies and rituals to do during the new moon, and things to start to help you align your focus. So that's me, Teri Hunter. Please like, please subscribe, please hit that notification bell and share these videos if you find them of use. And I will be back next week with Traversing the Transits with Teri Hunter. Love you all so much. Sending lots of love. Have a wonderful week.